Hi students, this is Mrs. Morgan with Chapter 1, Section 6, Relations. After this lesson you will be able to represent and interpret relations. We're going to start with some vocabulary. The coordinate plane, you might remember, is the XY plane. The origin is the point 0, 0, which is right here where x is 0 and y is 0. Your x coordinate comes first, and you move left if it's negative and right if it's positive. So here's the negative x direction, here's the positive x direction. And your y coordinate, which is right here, is going to go down if it's negative and up if it's positive. So this is the negative y direction and this is the positive y direction. Another word we're going to use today is domain, and it refers to the set of x's, and the range refers to the set of y's. The first thing that we're going to do is express each relation as a table, a graph, and a mapping, and then we're going to determine the domain and range. So we'll start by making a table, and to make a table, all you need to do is you're going to make a T table with an X and a Y column, and each X just needs to be paired with its Y. So this 2, 5, here's my 2, here's my 5. This negative 2, 3, negative 2, 3. This point here, 5, negative 2, is 5, negative 2. And our last point, negative 1, negative 2, negative 1 is our x, negative 2 is our y. To do the graph, it's pretty much like you think it would be. You're just going to graph those points. So again, our point 2, 5, you're just going to go, you're going to start at the origin and you're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So over 2 and up 5. And that's our blue point. Our green point, negative 2. And we're going to be 1, 2, and up 3. Our red point, positive 5. So we're going to go 5 in the positive direction, and it's going to be down 2. So positive 5, negative 2. And our last point, negative 1, negative 2. We're going to start at the origin and go negative 1 and negative, negative 1, negative 2. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm recording right now. I'm recording right now. Thank you. So, the point negative 1, negative 2. Next, we're going to make a mapping, and a mapping is similar to a table, but there's a bit more to it. I'm going to see if I can't use this nifty circle button. And for this, you're going to have your domain, which you might remember from the front are your x's on this side, and you're going to have your range here, which is your y's on this side. And our domain has the x values 2, -2, 5, and -1. So we are going to put those on the domain side. So 2, -2, 5, -1. And we have our range, our y values, are going to go on the other side. So I have 5, 3, -2, and actually I have another -2. Highlight that a bit better. So I only need to put that -2 in there once. And what you're going to do is you're just going to have an arrow showing which number is paired up with which. So 2 is paired up with 5. -2 is paired up with 3. 5 is paired with -2. And -1 is also paired with -2. And so that's a mapping. Finally, our domain, which we've kind of covered when we were talking about our mapping, is 2, -2, 5, and -1. Our range is 5, 3, and -2. Moving on, we have some more vocabulary. An independent variable is what controls a situation, or it's the domain, or it's the x values. Technically, these are both true at the same time, domain and the x values. It is all of these things. Our dependent variable is something that depends on something else, or it's the range, or the y values in a situation. So we're going to identify the independent and dependent variables for this relation. The more tickets they sell to the dance, the greater amount they have to spend on decorations. Well, our independent variable, again, is what controls a situation. And in this case, what controls the situation is how many tickets they sell to the dance. And our dependent variable, what depends on something else, is, in this case, how much they get to spend on decorations. If they didn't sell a lot of tickets, they're not going to have a lot of money for decorations. If they sell a lot of tickets, they are going to have a lot of money for decorations. Our last example, the graph represents the temperature in Mrs. Morgan's room on a winter day. We're going to describe what happens to the graph. Well, in this first part, here, the temperature goes up after the heat is turned on. in this middle section here, this is during the day. During the day, the temperature goes up and down a little, just throughout the day. At here, at the end of the day, the temperature goes back down because the heat gets turned off. And that is Chapter 1, Section 6, Relations.